imprisoned by aliens, erased from memory, till a human broke through. Asterisk, the room was silent, cold, and strange. Soft blue lights glowed from the walls. The air smelled like metal. A man opened his eyes slowly. His head hurt. His body felt weak. He tried to sit up, but the bed held him down with invisible force. He looked around, confused. He didn't know where he was. He didn't know his name. Didn't remember anything. Strange machines beeped nearby. The walls were not normal. They looked like they were alive, moving slightly like they were breathing. He touched his chest. A small symbol was glowing on his skin, some kind of tattoo. It wasn't human. Suddenly, the door opened with a soft hiss. Tall alien creature entered. Skin was silver blue, and its eyes were dark and deep. It wore no clothes, only glowing. Bands around its arms. "You are awake," the alien said in a calm voice. "Do not be afraid. You are safe." The man stared at the creature. He didn't feel safe, but he couldn't speak. His throat felt dry, like sand. "You volunteered for this," the alien continued. "You are one of us now," the man wanted. To shout, to ask questions, but no words came. He just nodded slowly, though he didn't know why. Days passed, or maybe weeks. Time felt strange in this place. There were no windows, no sun, no moon, only lights that changed color. The man was given food through the wall. Sometimes the aliens came and talked to him. They said he was special. They said he chose to forget. "Your memories were painful," one alien told him. "You wanted to leave your past behind." He tried to believe them. Maybe they were right. Maybe he had done something bad. Maybe forgetting was better. But at night, things changed. He started having dreams. In one dream, he saw water, a blue ocean. He saw a green tree. A small child ran to him and called him Dad. A woman smiled at him. These people looked like him, not like the aliens. Then the dream turned dark. There was fire, screams, ships. In the sky, he woke up sweating, shaking. Something was wrong, very wrong. He tried asking the aliens, "Who am I?" His voice was broken, but working again. "You are who you chose to be," they answered. "You are home." But deep inside, he knew it was a lie. One day, while walking through a hallway, he saw his reflection in the metal wall. He looked human, not like the aliens. He touched his face, his eyes, his mouth. "I'm not one of them," he whispered. Then he heard it, a voice, not in his mind, a real voice. "Hey, you there?" It was a whisper coming from a dark corner behind a machine. He stopped and looked around. No alien was near. Behind the panel, quickly the voice said. He moved toward the panel. It was loose. He pulled it open slightly and peeked inside. A human face looked back at him. Dirty, tired, but real. "You're not crazy," the man whispered. "I'm human, and so are you." The prisoner's heart raced. He wanted to scream in joy, in fear, in confusion. "Who are you?" he asked. "My name is Jake," the man said. "I've been hiding here for weeks. They took us, erased our minds. But I escaped before they finished mine." The prisoner's hands shook. "Why don't I remember anything?" Jake's eyes were serious. "Because they wiped you. They made you forget. But I've seen your file. Your name is Commander Ray Carter. You were leading a mission." "You were captured?" The prisoner couldn't believe it. "A mission? Was a leader?" Jake nodded. "Yes, and we need to get out. But they're watching us. You need to pretend you're still broken. I'll contact you again when it's safe." Before Ray could speak, Jake vanished into the shadows. The panel closed. Ray stood frozen, heart pounding. A name, a mission, a lie shattered. He looked down at the glowing symbol on his chest. It wasn't a mark of honor. It was a chain. That night, Ray sat on his bed, eyes open, mind racing. Everything felt different. The walls looked smaller. The lights felt colder. The alien smiles felt like traps. Now he had a name, a purpose, a truth, and a choice. Stay silent or fight back. Ray Carter couldn't sleep. even though the lights were dim and the room was quiet. His mind was loud. Questions shouted inside his head. Who am I really? Why did they erase me? Was Jake telling the truth? He lay on the cold bed, staring at the ceiling. It looked like soft glass, glowing faintly. There was no sky, no stars, just empty light. Then it happened again. That sound, a whisper. It's almost like wind through a tunnel. Ray, can you hear me? He sat up quickly. His heart raced. Jake. He whispered, silence. He got up slowly, walked to the wall, and pressed his ear against it. Nothing, but then, faintly from the air vent above, the whisper returned. They're watching you. Don't trust the comm. The test is coming. Ray stepped back. His breath was short now. A test. What test? The next morning, 2 aliens entered his room. Their faces were expressionless. Follow us, one, said Ray. Didn't speak. He just followed. They walked through long silver halls. Lights blinked above the doors. He saw other rooms, some with empty beds, some with machines. No other humans, just him. Alone, they entered a circular chamber. The walls moved like waves. In the center was a tall chair with metal arms, like a throne. But it looked like a trap. Sit. The alien said. Ray sat. The moment he did, the arms locked around his wrists. Cold metal touched his head. Then, the room vanished. He was standing in a park, trees all around, children laughing. A woman smiling at him, but something was off. The sky was purple. The birds had no wings. People looked real, but their faces flickered like broken images. Ray, the woman said. Stay here. This is your home now. He turned to run, but the trees melted. The grass turned into wires. Then, a loud noise, a scream. And Jake's voice strong this time. Wake up. It's a trick. Break the machine. Ray opened his eyes. He was back in the chair. Alarms were blaring. Aliens were shouting in there. Strange language. Ray had broken the mental test. They took him back to his room. Silent and angry, no words were said. But Ray knew. They were scared. He remembered something they didn't expect. He wasn't broken anymore. That night, the voice came again, clearer. Jake's whisper from the vent. You passed the test. They know you're waking up. Ray whispered back. What now? There's a tunnel behind your wall. I'll open it when the time is right. You're not alone, Ray. There are others. Ray leaned against the wall, closing his eyes. For the first time, felt hope, but he also felt something else. Movement. A shadow. From the corner of the room, someone or something was watching. The next day, things changed. Aliens didn't smile anymore. They scanned him more often, followed him with their black eyes. And at night, the dreams returned stronger. But now, Ray didn't run from them. He chased them. He saw flashes of battles. Of soldiers in spacesuits. Of Earth. Of a base being attacked. Of himself yelling, "Hold the line." Each morning, he remembered a little more. He was not just a soldier. He was a leader. One night, the panel in his room slid open. Jake's face appeared. Come now. Quiet. Ray followed him into the dark tunnel behind the wall. It was narrow. Made of old pipes and wires. Air smelled like oil and dust. Jake handed him a small device. Signal jammer. Keeps them from hearing us. They crawled for what felt like hours. Then they reached a small hidden chamber full of stolen tools, maps, and something unbelievable. A small screen showing Earth's signal. Is that Liv? Ray asked. Jake nodded. Ash! Yes, they haven't destroyed it yet. Ray looked at the blue planet glowing on the screen, and for the first time since he woke up, he felt something real inside him. Fire, anger, hope. Asterisk. Jake leaned close and whispered, there are more of us sleeping like you were, Ray. Looked at him. Then let's wake them. Asterisk. The old tunnel was quiet, but Ray's mind was loud. He crawled behind Jake, hands and knees scraping on the cold metal. Pipes above their heads hissed softly. The walls were tight, and every few minutes, the tunnel shook like something massive was breathing. They had been moving for hours, or maybe just minutes. Time had lost meaning. Finally, Jake stopped. "We're here," he whispered. Ray looked around. They were in a round space, maybe part of a broken storage unit. Old alien tech was scattered across the floor. But in the center, there was something else. 6 glass pods. Inside each, a human sleeping. And Ray's heart skipped a beat. "Who are they?" he asked. Jake checked one of the pods. A woman around 30 floated inside. Her eyes were closed. Soft green light blinked near her temple. "They were part of your team," Jake said. "It's from the mission. All of them." Ray stepped closer. He didn't remember their names, but something inside him ached like a forgotten melody. What did they do to them? Jake pointed to the pods. "They erased them, like they did to you. But these ones, they never woke up. They're still trapped in the fake dreams." Ray clenched his fists. "Can we wake them?" Jake hesitated. "Maybe. I've been working on it. The aliens use a code to shut the brain's memory center. But sometimes, a word, a voice, something familiar, it can break through." Ray looked at the woman again. He placed his hand on the glass and softly whispered, "Earth, asterisk." Nothing happened. Then, her eyes twitched, lips moved, and then suddenly, her eyes opened wide with fear. She gasped, her hands banging on the inside of the pod. Asterisk. Jake quickly opened the seal. Steam hissed out. Ray helped her sit up. She coughed, her voice was dry. Where am I?" Ray looked her in the eyes. "I don't know your name," he said gently, "but I think we came here together. Think we were soldiers. Humans." Her eyes filled with tears. I remember fire, screaming. We were falling." Jake nodded. "She's waking up. It's working." Ray looked at the other pods. "We wake them all." One by one, they whispered the same word. Earth. Slowly, the team began to wake. Weak, confused, but human again. There were 6 of them now. Ray, Jake, the woman, her name was Dr. Hannah, Leonid, 3 others. Mason, Leo, and Anders. Each one remembered only bits and pieces. But one thing was clear. They had been sent on a mission, and now they were prisoners in a place far from home. But just as hope was rising, danger returned. From the corner of the room, sound, a soft hum, a screen lit up showing a black-eyed alien face. "You are awake," it said. "That is unfortunate." Jake cursed. "They found us." The screen flickered. "We gave you peace. We gave you a new start. But you have chosen pain. So be it." Then the screen went dark. Red lights blinked in the tunnel. Sirens began to wail. "They're coming," Ray said. "We need to move." But Hannah shook her head. "Wait, look." She pointed to the corner. A locked panel. A map was glowing. An emergency route. Ray smiled. "They just gave us our escape." They ran through the emergency corridor. Behind them, the walls echoed with alien voices. Blades of light shot past their heads, alien weapons. Burning through metal, Mason was hit in the leg but kept running. "Go. Don't stop." Ray helped him. "Up. We leave no one behind." The group moved fast, fear in their lungs, fire at their backs. Then, suddenly, silence. They had reached a hidden bay, and inside an old, human ship. Damaged, rusty, but familiar. Ray stared at it. This was ours. Jake nodded. "Looks like they kept it, maybe to study it." Ray looked back at the group. 6. It back. Inside, dust floated in the air. Control panels flickered to life as Jake powered up the core. "It's working," he said. "Barely, but it's flying." Hannah sat in the pilot seat. "Engines online. Coordinates?" Ray stepped forward. Home. As the ship lifted off, alarms screamed across the alien base. Guards swarmed below, but it was too late. The human ship shot through the ceiling, breaking into the sky above the alien world. They were free, but far from safe. Ray looked out the window. Stars spread before them, and somewhere in the distance, was Earth. He didn't remember everything, not yet, but he remembered who he was. He was human, and now he was awake. Asterisk, the stars looked peaceful from space. But inside the stolen ship, no one was calm. Ray stood near the window, staring at the alien world shrinking behind them. It looked beautiful, from here quiet, glowing. But he knew better. It was a prison, and they had just escaped. Jake checked the ship's systems. Shields holding. Engines at 60%? We can jump soon. Jump where? Hannah asked. Ray turned around. Back into the storm. Jake looked at him, confused. You want to go back? Ray nodded slowly. We got out, but we weren't the only ones down there. Silence filled the room. Mason, still limping from the laser burn, leaned forward. You think there are more of us? Ray looked each of them in the eyes. I don't think. I know. He opened a small storage box and pulled out a black device, the alien memory core. I stole this on the way out. It holds data at about other prisoners. Jake's eyes widened. Carried that thing while being shot at? Ray smiled faintly. Old habits. Hannah connected the device to the ship's screen. Lines of alien code appeared, then images. Humans, dozens of them. Some were young, some old. Some looked like soldiers, others like scientists, engineers, even children. All asleep, Hannah whispered. All forgotten. Jake clenched his fists. They're not prisoners. They're trophies. Ah! Ray nodded. We were just one room. There are others. Hundreds. Maybe more. Mason asked the question everyone was thinking. How many didn't wake up? No one answered. The ship was silent for a while. Then Ray spoke. We have a chance to go back. We know the base. We have the access codes now. Jake frowned. But the aliens will expect us. We got lucky once. We won't get that lucky again. Ray looked around. We won't need luck. We need help. He walked over to a screen and typed coordinates. An asteroid field appeared. Jake squinted. That place.
Oh, it's dangerous.
Ray smiled. Exactly. That's where we'll find him. 30 hours later. The ship floated near a giant asteroid, and deep inside was a shadow port and outlaw hangar. Broken ships, smugglers, and criminals filled the space like flies on rotten meat. Jake led the way, keeping one hand near his blaster. We don't talk. We don't promise anything. We just find him. Who are we finding? Hannah asked. Before Jake could reply, a deep voice came from the shadows. Found me already. A tall man stepped out, scar on his cheek, one robotic arm, one eye glowing red. Hello, Ray, he said. Still alive, I see. Ray stepped forward, still fighting. The man laughed. Always. His name was Kale, former human commander, turned mercenary. Dangerous but loyal to Earth. Ray explained everything. The prison. The mind wipe. The others still trapped. Kale's face turned cold. They're harvesting our minds, he said, turning soldiers into slaves. Ray nodded. We're going back. Want in? Kale didn't blink. Say less. Back at the alien base. ... The group landed in a dead zone, a part of the base abandoned after a reactor. Meltdown. Kale brought weapons. Jake brought maps. Ray brought memories. But someone brought betrayal, as they moved deeper. Ray noticed something strange. Mason was quiet. Too quiet. He wasn't limping anymore. And he kept looking over his shoulder like waiting for something. They reached the chamber. Just like before rows of sleeping humans, Jake moved. To unlock the pods, suddenly dash clang. The door behind them slammed shut. Too late, Mason said. They're already here. Ray turned, eyes wide. What did you do? Mason smiled. I made a deal. I get to go home. You don't. The walls opened. Aliens swarmed in. Kale raised his blaster. Typical human loyalty. Ray didn't blink. We're not dying here. Grabbed a metal pipe, smashed the light above, and everything went dark. Total chaos. blasters fired. Screams echoed. Ray tackled Mason, holding him down. "You betrayed your own kind." Mason coughed. "They showed me Earth. It's already burning." Ray stared into his eyes. "Then we'll save what's left." In the dark, Hannah opened 2 pods. A teenage girl and an old man woke up, scared but alive. Jake led them out through a tunnel Cale blasted open. Ray stayed back to cover them. He turned to the sleeping humans. "I'll come back," he whispered. "All of you." Then he ran. Outside, the ship waited. As they blasted into the sky, explosions lit up the base. Ray looked out. 1 chamber down. Dozens more to go, but they were not giving up. Not now, not ever. Asterisk smoke filled the ship. Sparks rained from the ceiling. 1 engine was on fire. Ray held the controls tightly, trying to keep the ship steady. Behind him, Hannah shouted over the alarms. "We lost engine 2. "I know," Ray said, gritting his teeth. "Just hold her together a little longer." Cale, bleeding from a cut above his eye, looked out the window. "They're coming." Outside, 3 alien ships flew fast, like shadows cutting through space. Laser beams flashed, hitting the human ship from both sides. "Shields at 20%, Jake yelled. Ray didn't blink. "Then we make it count." They had made it out of the base, but not without pain. Mason, the traitor, was gone. Had shot him before he could alert more guards, but the real damage had already been done. They had woken only 2 more prisoners before the alarm. Triggered, so many were still inside, still sleeping, still forgotten. Ray felt the weight of every name. They didn't know, but there was no time to mourn. Not yet. Suddenly the ship jerked. Warning lights flashed red. "Engine failure," Hannah said. "We're losing altitude." Jake looked at the star map. "There's a moon nearby. Thin atmosphere. We might crash, but we might survive." Ray nodded. "Do it." Hannah changed course. The ship shook violently. "Everyone, strap in," Cale shouted. "It's going to be a hard landing." They hit the moon like a rock. Metal screamed, panels exploded, gravity pulled them hard, and then blackness. When Ray opened his eyes, he was upside down, blood dripped from his forehead. The ship was half buried in the moon's rocky surface. Smoke curled from the engines. He heard groans. People moving, some crying. He crawled out of his seat. "Roll call," he shouted. "Is anyone dead?" One by one, voices answered. Jake, Hannah, Cale, the teenage girl, the old man, all alive. But Leo, one of the rescued, was silent. Ray found him near the engine room. He had shielded the others during the crash. His body was burned, gone. Ray stood over him in silence. Cale walked up slowly. He saved the girl, took the full hit. Ray nodded, eyes glassy. "We'll bury him here, not in a cage." Asterisk, they dug a grave with bare hands. Hannah placed a piece of metal near the grava marker with Leo's name scratched on it. The teenage girl, still shaking, whispered, "Thank you." Ray put a hand on her shoulder. "You didn't die for nothing. We finished this." For him, hours passed. Jake repaired what he could. "We can fly again," he said. "Short range only." Ray pulled up the alien data chip again. "We need to find the hive." Cale frowned. "The big one?" Ray nodded. "Yes, the central core. That's where they keep the command center, the brain of it all." Jake looked unsure. "That's suicide." Ray looked back at him. "It's a message." That night, they rested on the cold moon rock. The sky above was filled with stars, but none of them looked like home. Ray sat alone, watching the stars. Hannah walked over. "You okay?" Ray shook his head. "No, but I'm ready." She sat beside him. "What if we don't make it?" Ray looked at her. "Then we make sure someone else does." The next morning, they launched the broken ship one last time. It limped through space, quiet but determined. They followed the coordinates. The hive was massive, a structure the size of a planet, floating in deep black, covered in tentacles, glowing lights and strange energy fields. Ray stared at it. "It's alive," Jake nodded. And it's waiting for us. Kale checked his weapons.
Let's knock.
They didn't plan to escape. They planned to go in, destroy the core, and send out a signal. A message to Earth. We are here. We remember. We are fighting back. As they approached, the alien defense grid lit up. Kale grinned. Here we go. Ray smiled faintly. Let's give them something to remember. Asterisk, the ship moved like a wounded bird through the dark. Metal groaned with every turn. Sparks danced across broken panels. Inside, no one spoke. They just listened to the sound of their own breathing, to the hum of a failing engine, and to the thing that waited ahead. Ray sat at the front, eyes locked on the massive alien hive growing larger on the screen. Its surface moved slowly, like muscle under skin. It wasn't a machine. It was something alive. Thinking. Watching, behind him, Jake worked in silence, connecting wires and rerouting power. Hannah reviewed the escape plan, though none of them truly believed they'd use it. Kale loaded weapons with a look that didn't belong to a soldier anymore. But a man ready to die for something that still meant everything. Ray didn't believe in fate. But what he felt now wasn't random. They weren't just survivors, were messengers. The teenage girl they'd saved. Laya stood near the window, staring at the stars. She whispered, "Which one is Earth?" Ray didn't answer at first. Then softly, "The one we're going to wake up." They approached the hive's surface. Alien turrets powered up, glowing like eyes opening after a long sleep. Hannah activated the Jamra's short-range signal that would give them a few seconds of invisibility. No more seconds. That's all they had. The ship dove. It passed through the first layer of defense, then a second. Ray shouted, "Hold tight," and Kale fired the boosters. The stolen ship screamed through the air, smashing through one of the hive's docking bays like a blade through flesh. Metal bent, walls shattered. Fire followed, but they made it in. Alarms began instantly. The hive roared, and from every corridor, creatures began to move. Ray grabbed a pulse rifle. Jake handed a small black device to Hannah. "This is the beacon. Get it to the core. Upload the message." Hannah stared at it. "What do I say?" Ray met her eyes. "Say we remember. Say we're coming home." They split up. Ray, Kale, and Laya took the eastern shaft. Jake and Hannah went for the core. The corridors weren't just tunnels. They breathed. Every step echoed like a heartbeat. Alien walls pulsed under their feet. Suddenly, whispers began. Not voices, but memories. Ray heard a boy crying, door slamming. A battlefield. His own voice yelling commands. Then silence. The hive was in their heads. Laya stumbled. It's showing me my mom." Kale caught her. "Ignore it. That's not her. It's a trap." Ray pressed forward, teeth clenched. "This thing eats memory. It's how it keeps us weak." Behind them, creatures emerge. Gray, smooth, faceless. Not machines. Not flesh. Something in between. Kale turned and fired. Laya screamed. Ray pulled her behind cover. More coming. Too many, Kale shouted. "Go. I'll hold them." "No," Ray barked. But Kale only smiled. "Tell Earth I wasn't all bad." Then he ran toward the monsters, guns blazing, screaming like a madman. Ray didn't watch him fall. He didn't need to. He just grabbed Lia's hand and ran. They met Jake and Hannah in the central chamber. The core floated above a pit black. Round, pulsing like a heart, Jake collapsed. Kale Ray shook his head. Hannah stepped forward and raised the beacon. The hive reacted. The room shook. Walls cracked. Shadows screamed. From the pit, a voice rose not through sound, but straight into their thoughts. "You are nothing." Ray stepped toward the core. "We were, but not anymore." He pulled the trigger. The beacon launched into the pit. A shockwave knocked them back. The hive screamed. Every wall, every tunnel, every system began to break, and from deep within, something began to pulse outward as signaled. Simple, but powerful. "We are human. We are awake. We are not yours." They ran as the hive collapsed. Ray saw the sleeping pods crack open, every one of them. Humans gasping, crying, blinking into the light. Laya turned to him. Did it? Ray looked at the sky above, tearing open as the hive burned. No, he said. We started it. The war was coming, but now Earth would know now. They were no longer forgotten, and they were not alone. Asterisk, the transmission spread faster than light. Across hidden satellites, deep space receivers, and long-abandoned beacons, a human voice echoed. We are human. We are awake. We're not yours. On Earth, long thought silent by those who still hoped, a signal flashed in a military command. Center buried under frozen ground. Technician dropped his coffee. Generals stared at screens. Civilians wept in silence. The lost had spoken, and Earth listened. Ray sat at the edge of the escape pod, bruised and exhausted, staring out at the stars. Behind him, the remains of the alien hive drifted in slow destruction, pieces floating like ash in the dark. A graveyard of memory and monsters. Beside him, Hannah clutched a small drive. The message went through, she whispered. I triple-checked the signal before we launched. Ray nodded but didn't smile. Good. Now they know. Now they'll come. Leia slept near the wall, curled up in an emergency blanket, her breath slow, her face peaceful. She had lost everything, yet somehow still believed in tomorrow. That, Ray thought, was the real victory. Jake floated beside the control panel, pods holding together, life support stable. Rescue should reach us in 40 hours, Ray raised an eyebrow. Jake gave a tired smile. We're not invisible anymore. No one spoke for a long while. There was nothing left to say, just waiting, breathing, remembering. Kale didn't make it, neither did Leo, or the others still lost in the broken sections of the hive. Ray carried their names silently, like medals, like wounds. The beacon had done more than call for help. It had woken people inside the hive, hundreds of them. But not everyone survived the chaos that followed. Some were crushed. Some chose to stay behind, buying time for others to escape. And now, floating in this quiet space, Ray finally felt the weight of it all. He had been no one, a number, a tool, forgotten prisoner. Now he was something more. He was the voice that broke the silence. When the rescue ship arrived, it came with the full force of Earth's military. Ships Ray didn't recognize leak. Upgraded, powerful, fleet no one had seen before the war. The crew boarded the escape pod quickly, helping the survivors out, scanning them, hugging them. No one spoke much. Just the soft sound of breathing and tears. A captain approached Ray and saluted. We thought you were dead, she said quietly. Ray looked around at the survivors. We were. She nodded. Not anymore. As they flew toward Earth, Ray watched. The stars fade into blue. The planet looked smaller than he remembered, but it was real. It was home. Weeks later, after debriefings and recovery in silence, Ray stood in front of a global broadcast screen, clean uniform, still healing, still not whole, but present. Cameras flickered. Billions watched. He didn't prepare a speech. He just looked at the lens. Took a breath and spoke from somewhere deeper than memory. They took our names. They erased our faces. They turned us into ghosts. But we remembered. He looked down at his hands, burned, scarred, alive. We woke up. We fought back, and now we're home. This war isn't over. The hive is gonna, but there are more. More bases, more stolen humans, more who still didn't know who they were. Ray raised his voice slightly, not in anger, but in certainty. We are not their tools. We're not their experiments. We are not their prisoners. We are human, and we are coming for the rest. He stepped away from the podium, somewhere far from Earth. An alien mind, stirred, quiet, curious, cautious. It had felt the loss. It had heard the message, and now for the first time, it felt fear. Back on Earth, Ray stepped outside into the wind. No. Walls, no buzzing lights, no voices in the dark, just sky, and the promise of more stars to reclaim. The end.